And I should have audio going out. I actually get to wear the mic this time because I'm the only one here. Hello, good morning, everyone. Hi, how's it going? It's me. It's welcome to the Odin Makes live stream. For all my friends in the future, like Cheese, Rockstar Cheese, thank you all for watching this in the future. But for those of you who are here right now, you already know this, but the first little bit of the stream, the bit that actually manages to happen before noon, which is only going to be about 15 minutes today. Wow. Sorry, guys. Is set aside specifically just for the members of my Patreon, the members of my Discord. It's like a little thank you to you guys. It's a little chance for you to interact on video, on stream, where I will be able to see your comments much easier. Later on when we, like 15 minutes, when we open this up to being a public stream, it can be a bit rougher being able to see everyone's comments, be able to interact with everyone. But for now, hi! It's been an interesting couple of weeks. I've spent the last 2 weeks at cons, basically. Let's see, it was just 2 weeks ago we were trying to work on the Magneto helmet, and that was trying to get that done, get the concept done. I didn't have to get the prop done. I had to get the concept done. So when I got out to Louisiana, to the Lafayette Creators Con, I would have a specific helmet to do as a master class with the people at the con. It turns out that nobody signed up. I didn't take that personally. Nobody signed up for the other master class that was set up as well. It just didn't happen at this con for whichever reason. So that's okay. It gives me a little more time to get this kind of refined and maybe get a better idea on how I would want to actually talk and present instead of doing it off the cuff, which would have done, and it probably would have been fine. I think we were only scheduled an hour and a half to do it, which we know how far we get in an hour and a half, about that far. So I wasn't too worried about it, but still, probably should go ahead and try and finish it because I started it and it'd be neat to go ahead and finish it. But importantly, for those of you who want to be able to see a start to finish, dust in my face, complete version of this Magneto helmet. Good morning, maybe we're just normally loud. Maybe I'm just normally loud. Mic is a bit loud. Okay. I do have a different mic setup, so let me adjust that. That's going to be a little too much. Oh, wow. Why is this on plus 10? How is that? Is that better? Is that going to be... Hopefully that's better. Sorry, guys. I wasn't looking at the mic. Thank you for telling me. I need to pay more attention. Still pretty loud because I know I'm just loud. I like how it goes from... Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong spot. Oh, there we are. There's -9. All right. This is how often I use the audio mixer on the Blackmagic switcher. Because I'm looking at the top where I'm still topping out. Okay, where's the gain boost on the mic? Oh, I don't do it on this end. I do it on the other end. Is that going to make it any better? Yeah, I'm still kind of topping out. Huh. I'll turn it down here. Is that going to be any better? That might be better. That's looking like it's a little bit better. And again. All right. Sorry, guys. Don't mean to blow everyone's ears out. Dan says, that's worse. Having a hard time seeing both. It's one of those great live streams where we get to watch Odin try to figure out equipment that he not only uses just, a few times every month, but also never touches at the same time. So, it's all set up. It's fine. I'll just go with what it says. Alrighty. So, yeah, I've got a mic is a bit loud. Shop Gremlin's here. That's pretty cool. Hello, Steve D. Mariah Woods is here. Hola, mateys. Will Connors is here. Hello, Will Connors. Doesn't sound too bad to me, Dan. Hello from Schultz Division. Hello, friends. Ye peaks a bit, says Schultz Division. Alrighty, is it still... On my end now, I'm having it run into the red, but it's not peaking out totally. See, normally, I've got my Rode Lav microphone. This is the first version that came out. Looks like a little square. I've got that clipped up right up here, just out of frame, because it's the easiest for me and Felicia to be able to use, and both of us to be able to be heard. When I hear the playback, it bugs me a lot, being the video guy that I am, because I can hear the room tone. I can hear the hollowness of the room, because it's a microphone that's to be worn on a person that's being used as a boom mic, which is the wrong way to do it. So today I'm here alone. I can actually put on the mic I typically wear when I'm doing my my pre-made videos. Yes, those are coming back. Eventually. I don't want to make any promises like they're going to be here next week or anything. So I get to wear that on my person, so if I happen to walk around, you'll be able to hear me easier. But I've got the elements. You've got the microphone, which is the transmitter is this little guy, right? The little Rode microphone. But I've plugged in the transmitter portion, the actual microphone element, which I have clipped inside my shirt here. So it's, how do I want to put this? The microphone setup was about $200 in order to get the transmitter and the receiver and the cords and the wind mic and all the stuff for the first round of this inexpensive but good quality Rode lav mic. The Sennheiser microphone that I've actually plugged in is about $200. So just the little Sennheiser part, because it's a broadcast version, costs as much as the rest of the setup. So it's a bit better at collecting sound and yeah, doing the whole sound thing. I'm gonna turn on the AC because I'm already warm. Okay, not trying to brag about my equipment, not at all. This is just the stuff I happen to use. Till I turned on the gain booster. Well, I didn't think I turned it on. I was trying to turn it down. So I'm looking at it now, and now I'm looking at the comments, and I'm still doing feedback. This is part of the problem, is I don't have headphones on, in case you didn't notice. So I can't hear it. It all sounds fine to me. It's just me being loud in the... that's something else. I got used to being loud. When I've got the element just clipped up out of frame, I talk louder because I know I'm not wearing the microphone. Now I am wearing it, but I've got the habit of talking louder. So, yeah, I get to fight that a little bit. Jerrycan Cosplay says, I don't even know what a gain booster is. Okay, so gain. You've got volume, right? Which is how loud a speaker is going to play. Well, you can't really turn up the volume on a microphone because it's not projecting sound. So to differentiate or to give it a different term, and anybody, correct me if I'm wrong, they call it gain instead, which is basically you're turning up how sensitive the microphone is, or you're turning up, you're increasing the internal volume of what the microphone is hearing, and so you're increasing the gain. Typically, if all you do is just crank the gain up, you're also going to increase the room noise, and the signal kind of breaks up a little bit the louder it gets. So there's like this sweet spot of how much gain versus how much sensitivity versus. Short answer, I'm not a sound guy. So not live. That's Ivan's job. But I know enough that I can usually put a mic onto somebody, put headphones onto the camera, and adjust things either on the mic itself, which has got a gain booster, or on the camera where it's got its recording level, which is kind of the same thing, in order to get reasonable sounding audio that I can then work with in post, where I'm a bit more comfortable playing with audio, but even then I can't see it, so it's a bit like working with electricity because I can't see it. It's all funky magic to me. I don't know. It's yeah. I'm too visual. Can't see sound. Can't see electricity. So yeah. I get help from other people who know what they're doing. Usually. It's still peaking. It's fuzzing out the top end. Wow. All right. How about if I turn it down to here? I'm sorry, it's still peaking out and fuzzing out. This is taking a long time to set up. I'm really sorry. Is this getting any better? So I turned down yeah, I'm at -12 now. Is that going to be any better? Okay, good. I'll stop. We're going to stop here. Sorry, everyone, if your ears are bleeding. So I wanted to work more on the Magneto helmet, but at the same time, I arrived at the shop at 11 o'clock. What I want to do is start running this is my time, California time, right? I want to start running the streams at 11:15, but I'm cleaning off the top of the desk, had to move the computer out of the way. Nothing had changed since the last stream, right? Basically, because I haven't been here. So I ran around and did that, and I haven't printed out the pattern in order to finish up the Magneto helmet, which I can fight with. The printer's over there. That'll be interesting to go wander off camera, which is behind the proton packs and everything else to try and get the... So maybe I'll just talk about it. Maybe I don't do it. I probably should do it. But I was trying to say, Jerrycan Cosplay actually took the pattern that I posted to Discord and made a full-on video about it. And be honest, Jerry, I haven't watched the video yet, but I saw the thumbnail and it looks like it nailed it. Looks like it went together well and is painted well. And I've heard from other people that it's a good video and that you complimented me on pretty much making a pattern without testing it at all. So thank you. And so if anyone wants to see a really good build from a good friend who put together an entertaining video building this... he went at it blind too. He just had a pattern and went for it. So if you want to see it all put together quickly, then please check out Jerrycan Cosplay's YouTube channel, which hopefully he will post a link in the description, which might have to be okayed by Dan. So Jerry, feel free to post a link to your video in the description. Not the description, the chat. I'll try and copy and paste it to the description. And yeah, so everybody can see a finished version of one of these, because there's no way in heck I'm going to be able to paint this today. As long as I can, I may not even be able to build on it unless I can get the printer to work, which is under a coffee mug and an electrical cord and behind roadkill and anything else. Saw a lot of roadkill this last weekend. Good. So we thank you, Dan. Posted the YouTube channel for Jerrycan Cosplay. So just click on that link. It'll take you right over to Jerrycan Cosplay's channel. I would appreciate if you would subscribe to my friend's channel and also watch the Magneto helmet build. Yes, Dan says it's a great video. Just prepping you before you go live. Thank you, Dan, for helping me get stuff ready for before I go live. Although, Cheese got to suffer through all of it too, because he's always watching everything later on in the future. So I'm getting I'll get going on different things. Chances are this is all the live stream is going to be. It's going to be one of those podcast streams where I just talk for 2 hours and don't actually get anything done. But the idea was maybe I'd get something done. All right, I've got a question from Marvel Guy that's popped up a couple of times, and it's a reasonable question. It's actually a good question about building stuff, because Marvel Guy will ask a lot of questions about 3D printing, which I am not an authority on, but he is asking about, can I describe the difference between rub and buff and regular acrylic paint? Not sure which one is stronger and less sticky on my 3D printed props. Excellent. Neither one should end up being sticky on your props. Both of them should dry. It's just going to take time for them to dry. The difference between acrylic paint and rub and buff, in the biggest, broadest, most generic terms, one's a paint, one's not. Acrylic paint is a plasticized paint. It's a water-based, non-toxic plasticized paint that you can brush on or spray on over your primered, sanded, and paint-ready 3D print, right? So you can paint on a base coat of your paint, which you might want to use like a dark brown first, and then dry brush silver on top of it, or dry brush, since it's Eye of Agamotto I think you're working on, you probably want to still start with a darker, weird color. Trust me on this, like a dark brown or a dark yellowish brown, and then dry brush gold on top of it. To dry brush is to dip your paintbrush into paint, and then on a paper towel or a piece of drop cloth, a rag you don't care about, you actually paint most of the paint off of the brush. So dry brushing uses a lot of paint, but doesn't put most of it onto what you're working on. It's just part of the process. Acrylic paint's cheap, so who really cares? So you brush, you get most of the paint off of the brush, and then when it's still leaving marks on your paper towel, we'll leave it at that. So you're leaving a mark on a paper towel, but it's not painting a line. You can kind of see when it's ready. Paper towels usually have a texture, so when you're rubbing it, wiping it off, you get to a point to where you're only painting the top of the paper towel and not painting down inside of it. That's when you go over to your 3D print and start to lightly dry brush it to where you're only applying paint to the top areas of it. The first coat, you're going to want to put it on pretty heavy because you're going to want to cover most of what you're painting. But if you paint it, and what you end up doing is getting gold on all the high areas and in all the cracks and in all the details, it'll be primarily that first color you painted. That darker brown is actually a good one for gold. It's a darker brown color. And then when you've done this, you probably want to go back and do it again. And if you can, mix maybe a little silver with your gold, just a little bit. So you can make kind of a brighter, lighter color. And then do that again, but do less paint. And then you're only really hitting the top portions, right? You're only really hitting the very peaks of all the texture on your 3D prints. If you can, do this 2 or 3 times. This is actually how I used to paint my Warhammer miniatures as far as, detailing them. And you'll end up with not just a solid color object. You'll end up with a prop that's been painted with a base color, with a mid color, and with a highlight. And when you do the highlight is when you're making the paint lighter. It's a weird idea to try and make, gold be a lighter color, but you can do it. You can even mix like a little yellow with it or something if you wanted to make it up like a slightly brighter gold. But you start mixing non-metallic so that metallic and anyway. And when you do your lightest color, only go down because the idea is to catch only where the light is hitting on the top part of what you're painting, right? You're trying to mimic or exaggerate what would look like if the light was hitting it. So you're painting down and only hitting the top point and creating shadows underneath. Once you've done all that, you could even come back with a black wash or some other color, or even and you don't have to do the wash on the whole thing, although metallics usually work pretty well because a watered down paint is a wash, right? I like black shoe polish, but that might be a little much for the Eye of Agamotto, unless you spray paint it. You spray paint it, then use shoe polish. But with acrylics, so you come back and you can even purposefully paint this watered down, again, dark brown or black or whatever color, into all the big shadow areas in order to, again, exaggerate the shadows. And you're kind of painting a 2D object on top of the 3D object, and you're forcing these highlights and shadows to come out with the painting you're doing. So this is acrylic paint. It's water-based. You can clean it up with a glass of water and some soap, and it's off of your hands, and it's easy. And it doesn't have any smell, and it's something you can easily do, in your room. Rub and Buff is actually it's a waxy compound. And what you do with it is you get a very small amount. So it comes in like a little tiny metallic toothpaste tube. And it's usually the package for package. Rub and Buff is going to be 2 to 3 times the cost of a little jar of craft paint or the jar of the FX, Plaid FX paint. But it'll go really far, right? So it may not look like you have much, but it spreads out real thin. What you're going to do with it is you're going to take the tube and squirt out a tiny amount, not even something pea-sized. Like half the time, especially on a small prop like the Eye of Agamotto, I would lightly squeeze the tube and touch it to the paper towel or touch it to a piece of cardboard. And then you can just use your finger. I usually put on gloves because I don't like washing my hands off afterwards. But you can just use your finger, and you'll end up doing something similar. You'll touch the Rub and Buff, get the large chunks off your finger, and then just start rubbing over your 3D print, your Eye of Agamotto. Again, paint it a base color. You can even spray paint it a base brown, a base black, and then you start applying Rub and Buff over it in exactly the same way as dry brushing with acrylics. but it gives you a better metallic look. It gives you a better metallic sheen than the acrylic does. Rub and Buff actually has the particulates of metal in it, or whatever. It's a finer grain of glitter that's in Rub and Buff versus what's in acrylic paint. So it'll look better. And they make different shades of Rub and Buff. There's 6 or 8 different colors. They're all metallics. And so you could start with an antique gold and put a rose gold or a bright gold over it. Don't do rose gold. Put a bright gold over it. And you could even touch it with a tiny bit of silver, on the very tops if you wanted. But you can just do it one color of gold. It'll be fine. Rub and Buff will take about 24 hours or so to dry, maybe a little more. But it'll get to a point where it won't rub off anymore. And it'll be easy to work with. Easy to touch is what I'm trying to say. Once your prop is done, it'll be easy to touch and it won't rub off. Whereas the acrylics will take, a couple hours to dry, and then you can touch them and they're safe. And either way, because they're a metallic, you don't really want to put a clear coat over it. You put a clear coat over, especially on a spray paint. You might be able to get away with a clear coat over your acrylic metallics. I think I've done that a few times, but you don't want to do it over the Rub and Buff because it'll kill all the shiny metallicness of it. It'll ruin the sheen that you get from it. Rub and Buff is a chemical base. It's I'm not sure if it's acetone or it's not that, because it doesn't seem to bother the plastics. It doesn't melt anything, but it has a solvent base so it dries, but it's a waxy paint, so it's just weird. But it works really well. So which one do you want to use? Give it a shot. When it comes time to trying to clean it off your hands, soap and water still pretty much works, but you need to be a little more aggressive to get it off of your hands. And so I'd rather not have a bunch of paint on my fingers. So I try not to always finger paint with Rub and Buff. There you go. Schultz Division is exactly right. He recommends Cosplay Chris and the Smuggler's Room on YouTube for really good painting lessons on dry brushing and building up layers. Absolutely. Both of those guys are great. Shock Gremlin says luster. That's a good term for it. The luster that you get from having the metallics. If you put a clear coat over Rub and Buff or a clear coat over spray paint, you're going to kill the luster of the metallics. If I said that wrong, hopefully Shock Gremlin will correct me. I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to go back to my description. I'm going to edit the description. And if you want to see a complete video about the Magneto helmet, check out my, is that 1 M or 2 M's? That was 2 M's. My friend's channel. Jerrycan Cosplay. Save. There. Link in the description. There we go. Live time! Big old thumbs up. All right. Oh, it's been live time for a while. I've talked way into live. All right. I was just there. Now I can go back and go public. Done. And we're going to want to add this to some playlists. Live streams. There we go. That's all it needs to be because it's not a Ghostbusters one. Save. And we are live. We've got 8 viewers. Sweet. 8 people. That's actually pretty cool. Thanks, guys. Public time already? Yeah, I got started late. Sorry, it's public time already. But, How's that on the mic? I got my drink and just... When was the video for the flying frying pan on the wall? I was hoping someone was going to mention something about that. It's not. That actually belongs to Trig the Viking. I had borrowed it a long time ago. I just need to get it back to him. And it was sitting on the table, so I remembered to get it back to him. And I thought, I'll just hang it up. What the hell? I'll just hang it up for fun. So that's why there's a frying pan. We might get more questions about it when I move out of the way coming up, but that's all why it's there. It's I got to get that back. Okay, so I am not prepared to print. Can I do this? Well, you know, I went ahead and went over to Live, so I probably should go ahead and do the whole intro thing that I didn't quite completely do the first time around. Where's Dropbox? I did put it in Dropbox, didn't I? If I didn't, then printing this thing out is going to be you know, I don't think I did. I think I saved it to a hard drive I don't have here. I got it on the laptop. I can drag the laptop out. Did I put it in the Dropbox? This is not the right folder. This is exciting. Everybody was, well, no one's coming in right now, but. Well, there is a search function, right? This is Odin, fumbling with the internets. I'm just going to give up on it. All right. It's noon. We're a little past noon. And so I'm a little past going to go live. Hey, I've gone live. So we've switched the stream over to being a public stream. Hello, my name is Odin, and I've got a YouTube channel called Odin Makes. Maybe you've seen it. And right now I'm doing the Sunday live stream. So hi, I'm Odin, and for the next little bit, probably make it the full 2 hours if I just keep rambling. But if not, we might peter out. I'm not like a huge, because I'm the only one here. Felicia couldn't make it today, so which is totally cool. I'm not upset with that at all. Felicia has been here so many Sundays for so many years. It is super appreciated because she volunteers to do it. So I'm grateful for all the company and the time that she's shown up to do this. I know she has a lot of fun doing it. She's helping to build up her own YouTube channel, but today wasn't a day that she could make it, so that's okay. We are going to, when are we going to be live again? We talked about it this morning. It's going to be the 23rd. What's going on is next weekend I'll actually be around, but it's going to be crunch time because I'm helping out the Roseville High School with their play again, like I did last year for the Clue pieces, you know, the video I haven't made yet. This year they're doing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and so we got to make a couple of set pieces for that. And thankfully, it's not quite the same. There's still some props, but it's not. It doesn't feel as involved, but maybe it is. I'm probably fooling myself. And so next weekend is going to be crunch for that, where we got to make the funky machines for making candy that all the visitors to the chocolate factory get to interact with, as well as some set pieces for to help decorate around the chocolate river. So the little grassy hills and fields. The students have already made giant lollipops, and I've already made some other giant candy bar pieces. So we just need to make something that once they're done parading these things around, they got a place to be stuck and can actually be, you know, not just laid down on the stage. So gonna be making some just little micro grassy hills. I mean, they're not very big, but they're as big as they need to be. And then, yeah, just some kind of funky, non-functional, more than cardboard cutout, you know, candy making machines. And so I got crunch time to have to finish that, not only after the stream today, but then next weekend. And so I want to be able to make sure that those can get done. Because believe it or not, doing a live stream usually wipes me out, and I don't have a whole lot of energy afterwards. So I need to be able to center on that. And then the weekend after that, I'm going to go to this little thing called the New York Comic Con. Ryobi is actually sending me out to go be in their booth for all 4 days, doing demos of the different Ryobi maker tools. And to my understanding, it's going to be much like it was when I went and did this with them last year, where I'm not standing up and going, all right, and with the new Ryobi blade, you can cut tin cans, you can cut pennies, you can cut tomatoes. No, I'm just going to be set at a table in the corner of the booth out in one of the most public areas, just building something. Just sit there and be creative and build something. And organically, people can walk up and talk to me about what I'm doing, about what I'm working with, and I can explain the tools that I'm using, and I can let them touch it. And apparently, Ryobi was super happy with the interactions and the number of people that came in to go talk to them, because they came up to talk to me first, because I'm building this thing and doing something not normal at a convention. So I get to go be not normal at a convention again, which makes me pretty happy. As well as I get to go to New York. I haven't been to New York in 20 years, so I'm very happy about that. And apparently, somebody was checking the weather report. It's probably going to rain, or at least it is right now. But it could be raining in 2 weeks in New York, which makes sense, because guess what happened last time I was in New York? Yep. I was out there doing a trade show for the company that was the rising phoenix out of the Death of Play Incorporated. And I can remember we left the hall the first night, and it was pouring. And there was a massive puddle right outside of where we were supposed to be hailing a taxi cab. And so everyone's just driving around it. And everyone's like, doesn't want to get wet in the rain. So I end up basically walking out into this puddle to flag down a freaking taxi so we could get out of there, because it just wasn't happening. So yeah, that's my cab hailing experience. And then once I got to the hotel, everything was fine. And then it was easy to get back and forth to the trade show once we got to the hotel. But that first night wasn't easy. Foam Armor says, rain? What is this rain you speak of? Fair enough. I was just seeing that there could be some. Maybe it won't be. And I'm okay if there's not. But definitely looking forward to getting to go. Jerry says, I have to put the boy to bed. All right, we'll see you when you get back. And hello to him. Wow. Daniel Knight says, working on the Royalty Asada Yano mashup body armor out of foam. Sweet. And Bella is asking me to make, Bella333, only half evil, make Power Ranger weapons again and a Fallout 4 power armor suit, a whole suit. All right. I've got some plans for some upcoming suits, and power armor is one I've thought about, but mostly just the helmet. I don't have intentions at the moment to do Fallout power suit. Power Ranger weapons, oh yeah, want to do more of that. Want to put videos out again. I'm really sorry it's been such a span of time. Yeah, it's been a long time since I put out an actual produced video. Getting stuff. I am in such a better mental state right now. I am so much better in my head, in my life away from the camera, that I'm like ready to do it again. I've just got a few more things I got to get squared away, but before I can really start writing again. And that's kind of where I'm at. I've got a few videos. I just have to get them written, which I've talked about in another live stream. But I'm almost there. Hello, the real Mulkey. The Adventures of Alex Stoner popped in. Hello, the Adventures of Alex Stoner. I'm doing pretty good. It's just me today, so it's going to be a lot of me reading your stuff and talking to the camera. I'm probably not getting a dang thing done, because I realize, it's doable. I can just walk in the other room and grab my laptop and set it up and probably get the pattern to print in order to do this thing. But, yeah. Oh, interesting. Stephen Wagner's asking me about making the Bowie knife from the movie First Blood. All right, which I think that was a custom knife for the First Blood, wasn't it? Shady Fox. I forgot I was the first. Yeah, okay, so Marvel Guy's asking more painting questions. I had it's okay. Answered a couple already. Spray paint. Absolutely. It says it's fast drying, but it isn't fast drying. It depends on how thick the paint is, and it depends on the temperature. So spray paint really likes to be used within a certain window of temperature. They call it room temperature. But the paint itself needs to be this temperature. So one of the problems I run into, and I know builders who are in colder climate run into all the time, is that spray paint ends up being effectively a refrigerated temperature. If you hold it in your hand and it feels cold, not necessarily as cold as a drink, but cold, it's probably not warm enough to spray. And it's going to not set up correctly. What you want to do is take your spray paint and put the whole can into some warm water. If you've got a small pitcher, like what just a container that you can pour hot tap water in and put the paint into, put the entire can into it. Or if you've got a small sink, it's kind of a waste of water, but it's not going to ruin your project. So you warm the paint can up. Now, it doesn't have to be hot to the touch, but if it's warmer, if it feels warm, it's probably going to spray really good. So once you've let it warm up, which just once the hot water's cooled down, the paints could be warmed up. So it takes, 5-10 minutes. Get the water off it so when you shake your can, you don't get droplets of water on what you want to paint. And then just do light sprays of paint over it. And that should help a lot with the weird paint separation that happens and maybe some of the things where it's not drying. There's other things that go along with the not drying. I'm not a fan of Rust-Oleum paints. Some people can get them to work. They don't work for me. They seem to leave a lot of dry, a lot of wet, sticky spots. They seem to take hours to dry instead of Krylon, which takes minutes to dry. It's not always easy to find the paints that I prefer because the Rust-Oleum paints seem to have contracts with Home Depot, with Lowe's, with Walmart, that they're the primary paint being carried, or maybe just as businesses go, they've been that successful, and so their paints are carried in all these places. Finding the Krylon paints, it starts with a K, or the Bear spray paints. The Montana paints are good, but they come out really heavy because they're made specifically for graffiti art. Art, not vandalism. Anyway, those all dry a lot faster for me and are my preferred paints. I can get Krylon at Lowe's with a small selection, and Ace Hardware, at least here in the States. You're depending on where you're at. I haven't bought spray paint in a very long time outside of the United States, so I'm not an authority outside of my home area. But those usually dry better, dry faster, and don't end up making me angry. And don't ever try to spray paint anything made out of vinyl because it's just never going to dry. How do you know it's vinyl? If it smells like an inflatable beach ball, it's made of vinyl. And whatever's going on with vinyl that makes it smell like an inflatable beach ball prevents the spray paint from drying even years later. So it'll always be sticky. You'll always leave a fingerprint in it. And the vinyl, the amount of vinyl that's in PVC pipe can sometimes do that too, to some paints. So it's a real kind of crapshoot for painting some of that stuff. Sorry. Dan Does Junk says, make an Odin scale Lego figure so you'll always have an additional co-host for your streams. So I've got the Xtool P2 CO2 laser. This is a laser engraver and a laser cutter that is designed to compete directly with Glowforge. It is that size. It's that class of laser. It's a CO2 laser, not a diode laser. It's still in the frickin' box because I haven't gotten my act together, gotten things cleaned up in order to really set this thing up and make it work. But I'm getting a spot put together where I'm going to be able to have this thing set up, and it won't just be here. It'll be where I'm spending more time, and I'm excited about being able to play with it and being able to cut things out, like the large-scale Lego figure that Dan Does Junk made and sent me a pattern for. So the whole idea, be able to cut one of these out, and Dan's already figured out how to make the air tanks, right? So what I'm talking about is basically one of these guys. And where's focus? Of course, my eyes don't focus. I don't have focus at all. There he is. So Dan's got one of these guys that is the giant Odin-sized Lego. He doesn't have the helmet made yet. I took his head off too. But he's also got the air tanks, which makes me excited. So, because it's the classic spaceman, which is exactly what I want. So, thanks to Dan and what he's figured out, I can make a minifig. I can make the air tanks, and then I want to make the classic style helmet, so I can have a complete spaceman. I know Dan wants to make the more slightly modern motorcycle helmet that they made because that's nostalgia for him. But I want this helmet. Well, I want. This is still the modern remake with the broken chin because this is specifically Betty. But you might know what I mean. I want to make one, really do. I want to make probably more than one, but I don't usually have, don't usually have patience for that, but I want to. Someone on Instagram recently sent me pictures of the Tommy guns that they made using the patterns that I had put out, and they also had some sort of a laser cutting machine for it. It looked great. Because I still got to get one sent out to my friend Jerry. Get a kit sent off. But that was neat. That was one of the first ones I've seen pictures of. So, yeah, kind of want to do that. Kind of want to make a Lego man because this last weekend, yesterday, at LodiCon, I swear it feels like it was a week ago, but it was yesterday. Dan and I both were at LodiCon in the city of Lodi. Right next to our friends Hire for Hire. And Dan brought his giant-sized Lego minifig that holds the Odin-sized giant Lego pieces, like this guy here. This is a Lego tile, so it ends up being Lego money, right? But it's this scale, so the figure can actually fit and hold the inside of this, or hold the edge of it, just like they're supposed to. And it's really fun to be able to have those other Lego pieces that I've made and click them into the Lego figure and have them stand there. So I've got the walkie-talkie. I've got the classic space torch. I need an astronaut, so that needs to happen. Thank you, Dan, for the Lego money, too. Dan says, if you want, you can use the arms from my figure to cast a mold for. All right, now that's tempting. Been getting to work with Smooth On a lot more, and there's definitely things that I'd like to make molds for. And the idea of making more than one Lego figure, I know the arms are a very organic shape, and that's one thing it's not a lot of work. It's one of the things you just sit down, zone out, and do it. But consistency, ease, tempted, very tempted. Okay, we got some other Daniel. Anybody at all? What? Hello, Dan. Remember to leave a like on the stream. Thank you, Schultz Division. Wow, I missed a lot as I sit here and just ramble. Add Vixen life goals to have a place for your stuff. They never said you had to do stuff with them. That's right. There's George Carlin did a whole great fun bit on a place for my stuff, And I think one of the best things was, if you ever notice that others people's stuff is shit and your shit is stuff. But anyway. Oh, Knife for First Blood. Oh, I got back far enough. Could make the machete from the Book of Eli. I've made machetes. Was the Book of Eli machete really that specifically different, Beanie Guy, from the ones that I made for Friday the 13th? Ralph Morick is here. Good day, Odin Makes. I finally made it into the stream. Hello, Ralph. Mariah says, we believe in you, Mr. Odin. Thank you. Yes, videos will come out. I'm sure that's what it was about. Daniel Knight, anybody at all? I'm not sure. You can make a Cyborg helmet from DC Comics. Possibly. 45th Clown. Don't. There's like 10. Head Vixen says, you gotta be more. Which version of Cyborg? That would be really cool. Beanie Guy is asking about the plasma gun for a future project from Terminator. That could be really cool. The Terminator plasma gun, if you look at them, are very boxy, but they had to be functional, right? So I don't know. It's possible. I've looked at them. I'm interested in making an E5 blaster for battle droids. That's something I have interest in doing as soon as I get my X tool set up. Shao Kahn helmet from... I scrolled. Mortal Kombat would be an awesome build, especially the laser death machine. Thank you, Mariah. Gordon Terry says, how about Hobby Lobby for spray paint? Sure. Hobby Lobby's got spray paint as well. So does Michael's. I can't remember what the paint selection was at the Hobby Lobby near me. I haven't been in a long time. It's one of those weird political things. They've done stuff that kind of made me question on Hobby Lobby. But no, they definitely have spray paint. That's doable. It's just a brand name thing for me. I've had so many bad experiences with Rust-Oleum that I just try not to buy it. But if you're going to actually paint, something metal, or I've had good experiences with it too, because it does work. It just seems like it takes a lot longer for it to dry than basically I have patience for. And that's really what it comes down to. But I've seen plenty of stuff painted with the material, and it does work. Arms to make a mold. I think it's a great idea. Do I have any projects planned for Christmas season? No, I don't specifically have any projects planned for Christmas season, except maybe visiting my mom, which would be really cool. She moved up to Oregon, so she's a little ways away. That'd be kind of nice. But no, I don't have any projects specifically planned. Ooh, Foam Armor says that they've decided to start an Etsy. Basically, they'll run the business side and they'll make things. No, you can send me stuff to show off. I don't know if I can show them off here easily, but Schultz Division's bowing out. Very cool. Marvel Guy, whatever you want to name your channel, go for it. I'm sure people will help let you know if it's a good plan or not, but name your channel whatever you want to name it. And yeah, good night, Schultz Division. Steve D, did we decide there's going to be a Halloween stream or not? Sorry that I'm random and all over the place. Welcome to ADHD Odin. So we're going to be, there's this today's stream. Felicia and I will come back for the 23rd, and then we'll be back on the 28th, the last Sunday of the month. And I think the last Sunday of the month will be the Halloween stream. I don't believe either one of us has time in the schedule to do a specifically on the Halloween day stream. So like we've done in the past, on the normal day that we stream, we'll just do that one as a Halloween themed. And she and I have already talked about what we might wear for doing the stream, and I believe she's planning on putting a poll in the Discord. So if you want to help vote on what Felicia either makes or wears, because it could be something she's already made, then there should be a poll appearing at some point in time on the Odin Makes Discord. And if you're not on the Odin Makes Discord, where you get to talk to me randomly at all times, as well as a number of other names that you hear me say all the time, then please check out patreon.com/OdinMakes and jump on at the Discord level. That'll give you access to the private Discord, where you'll have access to be able to talk to me. You can talk to Shop Gremlin, you can talk to Dan Does Junk, and you can talk to Marvel Guy, and you can talk to Jerrycan Cosplay, and all these people. And on Fridays, we still play Among Us. Since Joe bowed out of the picture, we haven't been streaming the Among Us games anymore. It's kind of a bummer. It was a lot of fun streaming them, but we do still play whenever we can. That being said, I'm not going to be able to make it the next 2 weeks because I'm going to be in Southern California and I'm going to be off in New York. But, when we can, we play. Just realize that as I'm talking about it. Yeah. So last weekend I was in Louisiana. This weekend I was in Lodi. All next week I'm going to be in Southern California for my day job doing different things. And then the week after that, I fly out to New York Comic Con, and I'll be gone from the 11th to the 16th because the con's the 12th to the 15th, and it takes a day from California. Basically, it takes a day to get there and a day to get back in an airplane, more or less. I wouldn't want to try and do the con and travel on the same day. That seems like a really bad plan. So yeah, jumping around, but then I think I'll be able to stay home. I think I'll be able to stay home for the rest of the year. I'm liking that plan. So what cons are coming up immediately after New York Comic Con, which is mid-October? The next con I'll be appearing at is going to be SAC Anime, which is going to be the first weekend in January. That'll be right here in Sacramento. I live in Sacramento, so to me it's right here at the convention center. And we'll be having a cosplay repair booth again. Actually got to talk yesterday to one of the guys that helps... Good. Suddenly afraid I was still on the close-up camera. It helps run SAC Anime because they're all friends. So the guy who runs Lodi Con, half the people that run SAC Anime go down and give him a hand with running that. So I got to talk to one of the guys yesterday and was saying that, yep, they're making some changes to the con. They're going to add some things. One of the things they're going to do in SAC Anime is they're going to divide up the dealer's room. What it's been up till now is one great big dealer's room where all the guests are at one end, and then you have just all the vendors. Right? I call it a dealer's room, but it's a vendor's room. They're all the other part of the building. They're actually going to take a third of it away, maybe a fourth, somewhere in there, and specifically make it for video games and a gaming event space that'll actually run later into the evening, because the vendors hall closes at 7, so this gaming hall portion is going to close at like 11 p.m., so another 4 hours of con. But they've got it to where there's a company that sets up a ton of video game consoles, like 24 of them. They're going to come out and set up and do their thing. These are the people who do the video games at Dragon Con. So the Dragon Con video game people are going to be coming to SAC Anime and setting up, as well as a collectible card game, CCG people. I don't know who. They're going to come out and run tournaments. I don't know which game, he didn't say. But he's excited that they're going to have video games and card games, and an esports group is going to come out and run tournaments. So all this is going to be happening at SAC Anime, which that's really cool. When I first heard about this game room area, it was just, they couldn't talk about what they had planned because nothing was set in stone. Nothing was, the contracts weren't signed. Well, now they are. And so these are the things they're doing, in addition to having, more video game centric vendors in that particular room. So that's kind of cool that they're actually branching out and changing a little bit and adding a little more to SAC Anime. But yep, my little world's probably going to be the same. I'll be upstairs doing cosplay repair. Felicia will probably be there, and it's just, going to be kind of more or less status quo for me, which is good because I like that. Godaloop is asking if I'm going to be at New York Comic Con on Sunday, that they're planning on going, but can only be there for one day. Yes, I'm going to be there all 4 days, so I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because I believe those are the days the con's happening. And all 4 days, I will be spending the majority of that time in the Ryobi booth. I don't know what booth number they have yet, but if you look it up in the guide, just look for Ryobi, R-Y-O-B-I. I'm going to be in their booth. I'm going to be just building whatever. Haven't completely decided yet. Last time I tried to just make up a little short sword and a little helmet because I was trying to do something that wasn't copyright, but they ended up not doing anything with it anyway. So I don't think they care. I might be able to just do whatever the heck I want. And so just be building and making and doing and having fun. But yes, definitely be there on Sunday. Delaney says Loki season 2 starts this week. Oh, I'd love to watch it. Oh, I really enjoyed season 1. I'm so behind on watching stuff. I still haven't watched Ahsoka. I still haven't finished watching Obi-Wan Kenobi. I didn't watch Miss Marvel. I never finished Moon Knight. I saw the first episode. I'm behind, but I'm excited for Loki season 2 because Loki season 1 was one of my favorite of the Marvel TV shows. Marvel guy is asking if I ever thought about making a prop to support my home football team or any other sport that I like. Sacramento doesn't have a home football team. We've only got a basketball team. And to be honest, I don't follow any sports balls. I can watch plays. I can watch a game. I can sit and just, all right, this is what we're watching. Great. And I've been to baseball games. Sports is not my thing. I would rather just, watch something else. So, no, I hadn't considered it. Advixen. Get back to you when it's Bionicle. Oh, I'm kept coming out wrong. Something about Bionicle, which is cool. SAC Anime this past, this is Labor Day, so this first week in September. This is what, 2 months almost now? I guess it's only been a month. Feels like a year. There was a Bionicle cosplay. The guy was a full white Bionicle suit. I don't remember all the different names. But he actually had it set up to where he could grab the mask and pull it off, and he had the sub-mask underneath it. He could stick the mask back on. It was great. First Bionicle cosplay I've seen. It was awesome. Foam Armor is telling me there's a con in Chico in November. Oh, interesting. Maybe. Okay, sorry, catching up on things. Golub's going in your Lost in Space robot suit? Which one? Netflix or Billy Mummy? Or Moomy? Which, that's cool. I saw a B9 robot at the Pleasantville? No, that's the movie. Pleasanton. Pleasanton Comic Con. Oh, this was 4 years ago now. But they had actually laser cut all the pieces to make the neck ring. And yeah, you know, the whole Danger Will Robinson. It was a good looking suit. Excited to see yours. Steve D is asking if I have any new Ryobi goodies this week. I do not. I might have some in a couple of weeks, but I guess I do have a new goodie. I could probably go grab something I actually bought, because sometimes I buy Ryobi stuff. So give me a second, I'll go grab that. 18-volt chainsaw wires this week. Right on. Apparently it's an early Christmas present, but I know where there's a tree to trim in the garden. So we're still using the Ryobi containers for cosplay repair. And one of the new things that they just came out with is a clear lid container. So this is something I actually bought as opposed to the stuff that was giving me. So it's a clear lid, and then it has the individual bins inside. And for the first time, they actually have a divider wall. So it's just a parts organizer, which is 100% something we need for cosplay repair. But it's just it's part of the link system. You know, it's just it's a box of bins. But I like the fact that all the other ones they have, you can't line the whole thing with bins. It's just not, they're not designed for it. You can put a couple on the side or a couple on the side, and that's it. This one, you know, it comes with this 6-pack of bins. You got the two wide ones over here, and then the single bin. And I think, yeah, you can, however you want, right? Yeah, not quite. Well, still, whatever. So this is the new thing that I recently got. So I'm excited to, because I've been using these bins to sort things, and this will help. The other thing they have that I purchased one of, but it's very buried, they now have a drawer kit piece to go along with this link system. So it's a taller box that's, you know, it's like two times the height of this, something like that, maybe a little bit more. And it has 3 drawers in the front, which is way more what I want for like cosplay repair, because this is stuff in a drawer and I can then set it on the table and you can just open the drawer and get what you want and close the drawer, as opposed to this where the entire top has to be open so it can flip open. They're also making a 2-drawer version, which I haven't seen in the stores yet. And multiple times I said, hey, can I get these things? And oftentimes Ryobi says, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, but they don't show up. So, all right, well, you know, you guys sent me a whole bunch of stuff, so I guess I'm going with this system, which is fine. They also have a half-size parts organizer, so it's only half the width of one of these, because right now everything's about this form factor, this footprint. So it's about half size with a handle in the front, so you can actually link 2 of them on top of one of these, and it's also got a clear top, and it's got like 6 compartments in it for holding yet more little things. And all this stuff I'm very interested in for the idea of cosplay repair, because it's just so easy to be able to put weird stuff into it, so I can continue to overbring stuff, which is certainly my style, overkill. So that's kind of the newest Ryobi thing I got this week. I think the other new tool I got actually came from Cheese. So last week when I was in Louisiana, I got to meet up with Cheeseaholic, that's his name on Discord, and Will Connors, that's his name on Discord. Much like me, I think he's just using his actual name because we're just not that creative. But no offense, Will, it's just fun to say. Cheese decided he wanted to continue with having, what do you want to call it, a tradition of giving me stuff. of having a present for me when he meets up with me at a con. Last time he gave me he built a Thanos helmet to replace the one that I had lost. Now this time he bought a tape measure, which is really, I like it a lot what he got, because this is a standard and metric tape measure, so it has both on it, which is really kind of cool. So yeah, there we are. And then it's actually printed on both sides. Hey, you know what? I didn't cut. There we are. That actually helps. So it's printed on both sides. You got your magnets in the front. Did I already have a metric tape measure? Yes, I did. But I have an inexpensive one that I picked up while I was actually in Greece on the island of Crete. So it's neat to have, one that's considerably better in quality than the one that I've got. But yeah, so thank you, Cheese. Much appreciate this tape measure. wanted to say the name and I realized that there's no way I'm going to say Haikio correctly, so I'm not going to do it. Ryobi box, he upgraded so you can take everything out as one and put papers underneath. Okay. Big hug from Spain. Thank you, Jorge. Yeah, all right, guys, let me know there's a Comic-Con coming in Indiana in October. Not going to be able to get out to Indiana just yet. Supersonic is asking, who is my idol? Says to become who I are now. Just curious. Didn't have any specific people as idols. There's been, which I guess idols are inspirations as well, right? So Tom Savini came out with one of the first really good how to do makeup books in the 80s. I got a copy when it was called Bizarro. It's now called Grand Illusions. The book's still in print. I read that book until the pages fell out. I would just reread it. It was a fairly thin book. It's like an oversized magazine, so it wasn't like an in-depth book. But he would talk about not only weird stories that happened on set, working with George Romero and working with the first Friday the 13th movies, working on Creepshow, right, on these things, but also talk about, in general terms, his process for making the monster makeup, which is what I was really interested in, making the horror effects, drawings, his original drawings for how they were going to take the arrow and kill Kevin Bacon in, I'm pretty sure it was Kevin Bacon, in Friday the 13th by pushing the arrow up through his neck, which of course was all camera trickery. Obviously they didn't hurt Kevin Bacon because he's still making movies. So that was a huge thing for me. I enjoyed reading about the art designers for Star Trek and of course ILM and the model makers there. All these things is what I was interested in. I was interested in just movies in general. There wasn't a particular person that I followed. But there was no internet when I was growing up. It was only books and libraries and the few and far between good articles that would be written that would actually be a making of point of view and not the shows they would put out at the time. It's the making of, and it was just interviews with the stars, which, okay, that's cool, but that's not what I want. I want to see, all right, you guys talk about making a plaster mold over your clay sculpture, and then you liquefy clay and pour it back in the mold to pull it out in order to make and to me, talking about it almost sounds more in-depth than these articles were. It was just, there was a great magazine at the time called Cinefex. This came out late 80s. No, actually came out 80, I think. The first issue was Star Trek The Motion Picture. But they weren't always, when the magazine Cinefex first came out, it wasn't always directly on time with the new movies coming out. They are now. But they would go back and look at older things. That was more of a trade magazine. It was it was a weird, like, half-size magazine, really thick. It came out quarterly, and it would go in depth on the making of the effects. It would talk to the bottle shop guys. It would talk about the new ways they developed for doing chemical blue screen with film, for doing, you know, how it actually worked. Talk about the guys making the makeup, and it had adverts in the back for, you know, Smooth On, and because it really did. There's always a huge single page for Smooth On. And they would talk about, and the adverts were good to read because a lot of them would talk about specific things they were trying to sell or they were trying to, you know, to work on, like buying a randomizer chip. So with your animatronics, it could just blink randomly and maybe have slight eye movements in order to give it a little more life without having to sit there and actually hand do it, because having a microprocessor do it for you wasn't really a thing at the time. So it was a great magazine, and that was really good because of how much it talked about and talked to the artists and the guys that were actually making it. Until about the mid-90s, when everything suddenly went to computer, and you'd be reading the articles and it would be, oh, we use this program and a proprietary in-house program in order to change the models to work with this, and then I lost interest in that because that's not where I was. I wanted to do stuff practically and physically, you know, and of course to go back and reread it now, none of that stuff is being used anymore because everything's changed. But you know, it's neat. It's cool. I enjoyed how much it was really cool reading about Terminator 2 and how much they had to do, how much work they had to do in order to do the 3D effects for the T-1000, because it didn't exist. They were pioneers in the whole thing the whole time. So did I have a specific idol? No, not really. Do I now? Sure, I love watching Adam Savage. But I still don't exactly, not that I could think of. And there wasn't a one person that was like my one thing I would go to learn from. But it was fun to get to read about all these different things. And it was great fun. The one time I got down to a Fangoria convention. Fangoria is a horror magazine. I don't know if it's in print still or not. But they put on a con down in LA. I was able to get down to LA because still living in Sacramento. It's like a 7-hour drive to get down there. To go to this con, and even though Bruce Campbell was speaking at the con, right? It's one of the reasons I really wanted to go is Bruce Campbell and blanking, Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund were both at the con. And so I got to hear Bruce Campbell talk about his ideas for how they wanted to do Army of Darkness, because it didn't exist yet. It was still this, you know, the end of Evil Dead 2, and they're stuck in medieval times because that's the way the movie ended. And how Bruce said, I've got the title, we got to call it Medieval Dead, it'll be great. None of that was allowed to happen, so oh well. They got the movie made. At the con, Tom Savini just showed up. It was something that Tom would do. He would hear about where the horror cons were. He would just buy a ticket and show up and walk around. And if the con people realized that he was there, they'd usually give him a table to sit down at, and he would just sign autographs. He wouldn't ask for money. He would just do it because he was having fun getting recognized, getting to talk to people, getting to talk to, you know, he would go talk to Bruce Campbell. He'd go talk to, because he could, right? These people would be able to talk to each other. But it was just fun for him. And so I actually had my Bizarro book with me, and because I think I knew that he should be there, or I knew that he would do it. So I was able to get this raggedy is the right way to put it, I guess. The page is falling out. Tom loved it, and yeah, so I've got my my copy of Bizarro's autographed. Louis Causey is asking me what my favorite thing was about Louisiana and how did I like the Southern food. Didn't eat a lot of Southern food because I was only there for a day, but it was good. I enjoyed the food that I got. There was a food truck that gave us ribs in a rice bowl that was supposed to be spicy, and I think it was spiced for flavor, but it wasn't hot, and that was good. And then I stopped and got some po' boys, and those were really good. But again, it was fairly generic. But I had a big road trip, so I wasn't going to try anything super out of the box, super different. Because even though I was in Louisiana, Needed to go and visit family that was in Alabama. So the day after the con, I had an 8-hour drive to go to Alabama, and then flew out of Birmingham. But while I was in Louisiana, my favorite part, things that was really fun, was the humidity. So that wasn't fun, but it was enjoyable to me and amusing that when I would leave the convention space to go out to get something out of the truck at night, and as soon as I go outside from the air conditioning, my glasses would just fog up and I couldn't see anything. And it's like, this is cool. It's not. Humidity sucks, but it was fun. And the other really cool thing that I got to do was drive on the, it's called the I-10, right? This is the freeway that goes through most of the swamps in Louisiana. And from living in California, which is a primarily desert state, to get to go to Louisiana, which is primarily a swamp state, I think. Hopefully I'm not saying that wrong. Get to drive on this elevated highway. So it's just miles and miles and miles of a big cement base with cement pylons that come up to this very flat, very level, very straight divided highway, and get to drive along on that. That was really kind of cool. I've heard about the highway before. I know there's a section in World War Z, the book, which I just listened to again, the audiobook, where it's some adventures on that type of a highway, but to actually get to drive on it, if you have the overpasses to go over the river, little rivers like Mississippi, that was really cool. And then I've got a friend, I've talked about him a few times, Steve Littman. He enjoys collecting bones and taxidermy things and whatever. It's just a Steve thing. He's got a few armadillos that he enjoys because the taxidermied armadillos, at least they used to be, overstuffed. So instead of this little animal that was squat in the ground where you can barely see his feet while it waddles along and it's got its armor in its back, it would be so stuffed they'd be on like their tiptoes, and it would look like it was inflated like a balloon, like ridiculously. It was just the thing that they would do with these armadillos. Well, driving along, it's like, oh, there's a dead one on the side of the road. Oh, there's a dead one on the side of the road. So it's like saw 7 or 8 of them. Very common thing to see. I'm not excited to see dead animals, but it was this. They're not here. It's not something that I see in California. So it was kind of amusing to get to see them, right? And how many there were. And I remember Steve explaining to me, because he feels really bad for armadillos, that if the little guys would just stay still, the majority of cars in the road would drive right over them and not even touch them, right? I mean, there's elements of a car that hang low, like the gear differential in the back, that they wouldn't, but the majority of the car, they drive right over them. But for an armadillo, anything that's threatening them is on the ground. So the defense mechanism is to jump up and get out of the way. That's just, they just jump. And when they jump under a car, they dribble themselves, which is not really healthy for the poor little buggers, dribbling underneath something going 60 miles an hour. Good. There's some conversations happening in chat. That's awesome. Foam Armor is asking, is anybody else somehow getting ads on a live? Yes, a lot of you are, because at this point in time, I haven't been able to put out a finished video. And the only way I get monetization from YouTube is from having ads happen. So unfortunately, I'm kind of forced to monetize my live streams, which now means mid-roll ads are going to pop up. They should be skippable, and I don't care. Go right ahead and skip them. But because I'm pretty sure I let those come on. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just. I do this to get a chance to interact with you guys, but right now it's also the only YouTube income I'm really getting. I'm getting views from the catalog of videos that I've got, but that's nowhere near the income I was getting when I was putting out videos on a regular basis. I'm going to put videos out again on a regular basis, but it's not going to be what it was. I'm never going to be able to go back. Probably should never say never. I don't expect that I will ever be able to go back to a weekly video. My goal and hope from here on out, once I start getting videos out again, is to maintain 1 to 2 a month. And that's really what I want to do. and because I believe I can keep going with that, and I don't want to. When I got down to being just myself, there for a while, Ellis was helping me, right? But even that ended up not helping, really. It was such a crunch, and I had to work on Ellis's schedule, which didn't work when I was trying to do other things as well. So it became just me putting out a video every single week in an attempt to earn enough from views on YouTube to pay all the household bills. That was way too much strain. That literally broke me, not just financially, but like mentally broke me. And it's a big part of why the videos haven't happened. So they're going to come back, going to be making videos again, going to be making regular videos again. They just won't be every single week. Paul Hasty says, "Hey Odin, just recently discovered your channel making a Daedric greatsword for my daughter, using tips from me. Have I ever made any Skyrim items? I haven't finished any Skyrim items. Working on, very slowly, working on Nightgale armor, so Shop Gremlin can appear on camera. Shop Gremlin is someone else who likes to help around, but their preference is to remain anonymous. And so the idea is to have Nightgale, not Nightingale, it's just Nightgale, I think. I haven't played the game. Mask that they can wear so they can appear on screen. Shop Gremlin is really, really good at electronics, is really good at soldering. Shop Gremlin has a huge love of animatronics and mechanical things that move. They're looking at joining the Droid Builders Club and has actually already repaired R2-D2 and Chopper for a couple of the guys that show up to SAC Anime and a couple of the local guys. So sort of an honorary droid builder, because they haven't really built a droid, but they've repaired a droid and got them rolling again. Repaired a couple of them at this point. So there's a whole lot of interest in doing this Skyrim armor. So kind of like the Stig for Top Gear, they can appear on screen and still kind of remain anonymous because, yeah, just gotta respect it. Wants to be part of the group, doesn't want to be on YouTube. So, all right, that's cool. I get it. Totally get it. Someone's asking me about a prop from One Piece. Haven't watched it, but would love to. SKS Props just did. I did the head. I did the crown. But I can't remember the guy's name. The skull guy, the skeleton guy. I did his hat, Brooks hat. Right. Well, SKS Props actually made a Brooks mask, and he also made a straw hat, I think. But from what I hear, it's really good. And J Period on Discord is working on the big ass bent sword. I don't remember which character it's for, but it's like a 6-foot long sword from One Piece. He's working on that for his girlfriend. Oh, look, Chakram was here talking about working on Skyrim Nightgale armor. Right. Oh, wow. Yep. Foam Armor is encouraging everyone to watch my back catalog of videos. Yeah, any ads that play on any of the videos still count towards my monthly Google AdSense payout, which is how you make money on YouTube. It's either that or selling merch, which don't have any to speak of. I do. There's probably links for T-shirts and things, and some people buy them, which is really cool, and I really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm not going to force anybody to. Oh, Jerry's back. Hello, Jerry. Not going to force anybody to go and buy stuff. I've been asked many times to put a tank top up, and I keep forgetting to do it. I need to do that. Yanolith is here. Sweet. Lurking. Alrighty. Delaney is saying, I'm talented. I should offer learning in-person workshops for cosplayers and beginning makers. Looking at doing that at more cons, specifically at the Creators Con, which is where I was in Louisiana. It was Creators Con. That is still a brand new con that Jeff, the guy running it, is trying to get off the ground. And he has got such an awesome attitude towards doing these small cons that I'm looking at it wondering, is he breaking even or enough people showing up? And I'm not trying to be mean to the con. It's just a brand new con, and he keeps jumping around different cities because he really wants to have like 2 a year at 2 different locations. So he's feeling out different locations right now to try and decide on which 2 he wants to settle on. Apparently, Colorado Springs did well because with Ted, Evil Ted was there at the last one this last spring. And now I get to go. So on April 20th, I'm going to be at Colorado Springs, Colorado, for a one-day con, Creators Con. And it's possible that at this convention, I'll be doing a workshop on the helmet that I said I was going to work on, but honestly, it's 1 o'clock and I'm not going to touch this thing. So the Magneto helmet will actually appear probably at that con. Again, Jeff is trying to set it up so the workshop is like an additional thing that people can purchase, like an add-on to the ticket. And the con supplies all the materials, and then you get to sit and just work with me and build this thing, which is, I think, is pretty cool. But if any of you who are watching now want to see, the Magneto helmet and want to see it finished quickly, as opposed to the weeks that I've been not working on it, then please jump over to the Jerrycan Cosplay channel. There's actually a link to his YouTube channel in the description of this live stream. And I sent him he has the pattern. He printed it out, and he fully made, finished, and painted one of these helmets. And even though I apologize, Jerry, I haven't watched the video, from what I understand, it all went together very easily, and he is very happy with what it ended up with and the level of detail that this quote-unquote simple pattern had. So please go check that out. Jerry's videos are great to watch because all the ones I've ever watched, it feels like you're just hanging out with Jerry while he's building stuff. It's really very cool. I like the feel of his videos. Dan Does Junk posted the link right there for you. So the link is right here in chat as well as in the description of this live stream. Wait, there's merch? Yes, Foam Armor. I've got merch over on Spring. It used to be called Spring Tea or something else. There's a lot of t-shirts. There's the Mighty Foam and Odin Makes t-shirts, the t-shirt that looks like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers logo, which somebody wore. Cheese wore it to the con last weekend. There's just the logos. I made a Toho logo one. There's a Mechagodzilla one with the Mechagodzilla drawing that Ace did. And all those t-shirts are still available on Spring, which there's usually a merch link or banner attached to the videos. There's supposed to be. I tried to set it up. Hopefully parameters didn't change and they're not showing up anymore. The one thing that it has that Jerry Rig Props bought that I haven't got one for myself yet, and I really should, is the Mechagodzilla backpack. So it's a basic backpack. It's a couple basic pockets, simple book bag, but it's got the Mechagodzilla printed up the front of it, and it has a pocket in the front, and it actually allowed me to put the print over the pockets as well. So this little pocket is still kind of Mechagodzilla's feet, and he's totally on the back, and it's got the logo on the side. It's got a little net pocket to put a water bottle, and it's really cool. And it's a decent price too, from what I remember. I need to get one for myself, and I haven't yet. But speaking of t-shirts, back in, what is it? SAC Anime. So the SAC Anime that just happened, SAC Anime Summer, I got to meet up with Cryptozoid again, who's got all the Cryptid t-shirts that I enjoy. He had the Cookie Monster Godzilla Cookie Kaiju mashup, which I saw at a con the first time with. Actually, Jerry Props was right there with me. I had to buy it, talked to the guy, and was excited about what he's doing. So this is a t-shirt maker artist right out of the Bay Area, so he's very local to me. Anyway, I wanted to get a t-shirt from him, and he didn't have it there at the con, so he mailed it to me. So I have mail to open now that it's 1 o'clock. But I started the stream late, so opening mail late's okay, right? Now, I know what this is, so this one isn't that big of a surprise. It's the t-shirt that I asked for, and it's one of his that I've looked at for a while, as long as it's what I think it is. Yep, that's the one. Oh, wow, he sent more. Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch of crap in here. Oh, this is cool. Okay. So there's more than I thought. Right on. So we've got his new Bigfoot t-shirt on green, which is very cool. So it's kind of a silhouette, but that's Bigfoot, right? He should be a bit of a silhouette. Let's click over to 4. So one of the things that Cryptozoid shirts do, and this one should, is there's an app you can use called ArtVive with your phone, and if you point your phone at the design, then an animation plays with sound. So there should be something that goes along with the shirt. I haven't seen it yet. But so I've got a Bigfoot shirt, and I am definitely going to be wearing this next week to work because the road trip I'm taking to LA, I'm going with Joe Gillis. Joe Gillis is a massive Bigfoot fan, so yeah, this is going to happen. The other thing he stuck in here that I was not expecting to see at all is the Fresno Nightwalkers. It's funny how these particular guys are popping up a lot for me here recently. So the, Nightcrawlers, excuse me. I keep giving you the wrong name. The Fresno Nightcrawlers, which, disco. This is a very recent cryptid. The Nightcrawlers are like maybe 15 years old at the most. There was some really bad security camera footage of this long-legged, two bipedal thing walking down a hill that didn't really have an upper body. And then a little while later, a couple more were seen at Yosemite. Now, if you go to the Cryptid Wikipedia where you can actually see these videos, okay, so the first one that was posted by Juan, I think is the only name he gave, that video still doesn't look right, but it's walking down a hill towards the camera, so it actually gets bigger as it comes towards the camera, and it doesn't look like an effect. It looks like something is really there. It looks like something is being manipulated. Something is happening. Captain Disillusion did an awesome video on how fairly easy it is to trick low quality security cameras, and he did a thing where it was just him carrying a watermelon with bright colored pants, and then had set the camera in such a way that you just couldn't see the rest of the body. And it worked, but it's not the same as what you're seeing. What Captain Disillusion did, from what I can remember, isn't quite the same as what I was seeing with the security footage, because it was a moonlit night and you got a full shadow, if I remember right next to him. It's still grainy as all hell, and it's still got a time code on it. I mean, it's, whatever. This is. And then the ones that were seen in Yosemite, those walk across frame. So the first one is walking down into frame, coming down a hill. The second one, they're still walking down a hill, but they're going across frame, and the camera is behind some trees. So you got trees in the foreground, and there's more trees in the background. And to watch those guys move, they totally look like marionettes. They may not be, but just the feet get planted fairly well. The head is fairly consistent with the feet, but the legs in between just look like fabric. They don't look like there's bones. It doesn't move right at all. But as a cryptid, it's not supposed to move right. And so the whole fun is to believe that these things are real. And so that's the fun part, and I want to do. What's cool is these guys are actually from Fresno. And my day job takes me to Fresno a lot. So the next time I get to go down to the Fresno office, I'm 100% wearing this shirt. But he says, happy belated birthday. Thank you very much, Cryptozoo. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I've got Julian's address now. I can send him cards. But he sent me the basic Cryptid Zoo. Am I on 4? No, I'm going to go back to 4 so you guys can see this. I've got a sticker of his logo. Let's undo this and get a close up here. There we go. Did it do what I wanted? Yeah, it did. Good. Okay. So here you can actually see his Nightcrawler artwork. What's funny is from Strange Cat Cosplay, I bought some Nightcrawler stickers at Creators Con. So more Nightcrawlers. So I got the Cryptid Zoo logo, and he sent a sticker of a Keep On Truckin' style Bigfoot. It's a classic 70s thing where you got the Got the guy with the Bigfoot stepping towards the camera, so we did that to Bigfoot. And then I've got a Nessie, which is cool because here's a cryptid I was way obsessed with as a kid, was Loch Ness Monster, and what looks like the Chupacabra. So doesn't quite say in the back, not quite the style that I'm used to. I'm not used to thinking about the Chupacabra having legend style horns, but whatever. That's cool. These are really cool. I've got a lot of cryptids on my work laptop, so it looks like I'm going to have some more. Julian, Cryptid Zoo. Yeah, thank you. This is really cool. Love the monsters. Love the t-shirts. And yeah, this is way cool. Very happy about this. I did not expect this. We talked about the Bigfoot thing, and what happened was he ended up missing to grab a box when he packed up to run up to Sac Anime. So he missed out on grabbing the box that had the Bigfoot shirt in it. And so then I picked up the Loch Ness shirt. I picked up the Nessie shirt. It's what I wore in the last stream. But it was, he custom printed it for me. So it's the black Nessie design on a dark blue shirt like the Nightcrawler shirt. So it's real subtle. I don't remember anyone commenting about the shirt during the stream because it was probably, the camera probably didn't pick up the print. But it looks really good in person. It's very much a thing in the mist, which is what, Nessie should be. Yeah, I did not expect a second shirt. This is way cool. Yeah. Yep. These are going to go with me. I'm wearing these next week. Going to end up with a closet full of cryptid t-shirts, and I think I'm okay with that. I like monsters. So the other thing that I had picked up that wasn't mail, by the way, Cryptid Zoo, definitely they've got a website, and he sells online, and I've had some of his t-shirts for years now. Like the Cookie Monster shirt is getting to be old enough that I should buy another one because it's cracking. But unlike some of the other online shirts that I've bought from another artist friend who's made some of the other shirts that I've worn, like the Big Trouble Little China trucking shirt, the Necron 99, the Neighborhood Transit Authority that has Mr. Trolley from Mr. Rogers. Whatever company is making those shirts aren't in my opinion, I could be wrong, aren't bothering to heat set the ink, right? They screen the shirts or they print the shirts, let them dry, pack them up, and ship them out. They're not setting the ink. So the trolley shirt, the Neighborhood Transit Authority shirt I have, has lost almost all the print. There's a slight ghost of a upper circle, and I know what it was, but nobody else will. It's just this. It's kind of a dirty black shirt. And the Necrom 99 shirt, which is a character from the old Ralph Bakshi movie called Wizards. Necron was this android assassin. Same thing. It's peeling. Everything's coming off of it. It's like, well, snowboard. I'm not very happy about the. Meanwhile, Julian's shirts, the Cryptid Zoo shirts, no, he's actually going through the full process of. I think he's hand screening them. I think he's heat setting them all, and I haven't had an issue. The oldest shirt I have of his is only cracked because it's across my gut. I'm wrapping this shirt around a globe, so which most shirts do that to me. So I don't see it as being anything wrong or different. The upper portion of it, everything still looks really good. So I'm very happy with the shirts and the quality of the shirts that he puts out. Please, guys, if you can, go buy a sticker from this poor guy. He's a he's a struggling artist just like the rest of us, and I 100% want to support this guy. The other things that I picked up at Creators Con and another one at Lodi Con was some new knockoff Legos. I don't usually go for the knockoff Legos, but since Lego doesn't actually make Godzilla figures, I picked up some Mega Figs from at Creators Con. So which one is it? Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's make sure they're turned. They're almost too big for the super zoom. So kind of a big fig. This one's a translucent, transparent orange. So it's kind of an atomic Godzilla. He does have a, positional arm, and his hand twists, and his mouth opens, and his head moves. And then Same thing with this one, which is done up in gray. This is theoretically Mechagodzilla. It's kind of hard for me to say that because it's the same mold. The only thing they've changed is he's got studs on his shoulders and studs on his hips, so you can actually put armament on him. He came with a couple of those little flick missiles that Lego makes, but otherwise he's the same. He's able to move the same way, and these were really pretty inexpensive. So it's like, yeah, okay. Here's a regular Lego fig, so you can kind of get an idea of the scale a little bit. But yeah, these guys, more Godzilla. Very happy about that. And then at Lodi, there was a guy that had actually had the minifig sized Godzilla in green. I keep seeing this one in like crystal blue or pink or red, and these colors that don't really say Godzilla to me. But he actually had in green, and the head, tail, and everything that makes him Godzilla is all one Trogdor-sized piece. Well, this is not working out for me at all. There we go. So that's all. It's all one piece, and the rest of the body is just a green Lego fig, kind of a lot like the Gremlin fig from the old Lego Dimensions game. But you know, so what? You end up with a Godzilla minifig that makes me happy. So this can stand there with the official Tyrannosaurus Rex figures and the official guy in a gorilla suit. We can pretend it's King Kong. And then the big figs can actually go stomp on my architecture sets, which I'm excited about. I haven't put them together yet because the architecture sets I've got packed away. But I've got an old Big Ben, and there's a Paris set. So these guys will look good next to those buildings that are just going to be a little bit taller. So it'll be kind of a short Godzilla. But yeah. I'll keep an eye out for these. If I find a green one of this guy, I want a green one of this guy. But these are, when they're not here on the workbench, they are underneath my computer monitor at home, where they'll be for a while until they finally get moved. But for right now, right next to the other Godzilla toy I just got, which was the reaction action figure. Yeah, they're all standing together. It makes me happy. So I've got Cryptid shirts, and I've got Godzilla toys, and Odin is 6 years old again, and very happy. The Chupacabra sticker looks like a zombie coyote, to be honest. That's what the analyst says. Yeah, kind of. I mean, are you trying to comment on the sticker or what it actually is supposed to look like from the artist's renditions and like the one questionable photo? Yeah, no, it does. The goat sucker totally looks like a zombie coyote. Coyote with really bad mange. Dan Does Junk says that'd be a cool and complicated piece to make Odin scale. All right, Dan, you're right. Yeah, all right. Dan was there when I bought it. In fact, he spotted it because I walked up to the vendor at LodiCon yesterday, and he had all the figures laid out, and I saw the brightly colored ones. I was like, oh, he's got the Godzilla figures, but once again, I don't see a green one. And Dan says, oh, he's right over here. He was like kind of off to the side a little bit. Oh, you got one! So, yeah, I was able to actually get the figure. The other one he had that looked really cool, it was a good deal. It was like one figure was $5, or you could get 5 figures for $20. Couldn't pick out 5 figures that I wanted. The one other one he had that looked really good, they actually had Chainsaw Man, which the head was, of course, the chainsaw head, and he had his venom tongue sticking out, and then he had the pieces that went on his arm to give him the chainsaw arms, and it was a good looking figure, really detailed, but yeah. I like what little bit of I've read the first issue of Chainsaw Man, and that's it. I haven't seen any of the anime. Sorry, B, they're not cartoons. I haven't seen any of the anime, and I haven't read any issues past 1 or 2. And it was good, and that was back when I was looking at maybe doing the helmet because it was being brought up to my attention. This is going to be 2 years now. And then, of course, Steve did one and knocked it out of the park. So it's like, yep, well, not going to compete with Steve. So go do Steve's pattern. And it's cool how many Chainsaw Man cosplays I do see that have used Steve, SKS Props, used his pattern. That makes me happy. Yanala says that they had seen a video about the Chupacabra from the Unexplained show. I am adding words that she didn't actually say, but yeah, and there's a podcast found Astonishing Legends or something like that. I haven't started listening to, but they do a lot of cryptid stuff. I'm getting back into cryptid a lot again here, like right now. Yeah, Advixen says, I'd go for the green one more because it's the claw hands that scream Lego. Definitely. Now, Lego makes big figs, and those things are still bigger than big figs, but it's the same type of idea. I've got, by Road Pig, I think, from that game. I haven't played the game. You know, the same one that Mai and Tracer, what is that game called? Wow, I'm totally blanking on it. I looked at possibly making guns from it, never did. Anyway, I bought the figure because I saw somebody make a really good looking Kingpin from the first Spider-Verse movie, because the hands are the nougat flesh colored hands. And so I wanted to do that, and it was just cheaper to buy the whole figure than to buy the hand blocks independently. Yep, Overwatch. Thank you, Foam Armor. That's it. Couldn't think about Overwatch. This is Odin when he's ready for lunch. His brain shuts down. So I think that was showed off my tape measure, showed off my shirts from Cryptozoid, showed off my Lego things. We played a little bit with some Ryobi kits. So yeah. Yeah, Dan Does Junk says Cryptid, UFOs, UFO sightings. He's got a comma though. Paranormal SCP stories. I love the SCP stories. I remember we were telling Cryptid Zoo about SCP stuff. It's also fascinating. Yeah, I enjoy the monster movies a lot, the monster stories a lot. There was, it was Leonard Nimoy as well, but there was a show called In Search Of that I watched the syndicated reruns all the time as a kid. Leonard Nimoy was the host. There was a super brief In Search Of, they tried to bring it back for like 8 episodes or something on some channel. I can't remember who the host was. I think the host was good, but I don't remember who it was. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the guy who plays Spock in the movies. But of course it was Leonard Nimoy, so I watched it, and that was, there was a lot of Bigfoot stories. There was a lot of Loch Ness Monster stories. There's probably not as many as I remember, but as a kid, these are the ones that got my attention, as well as the UFO stories. And there was a whole nother show called Project Blue Book that was all about UFO sightings. That one I think might have been a little more scripted, a little more dramatic, a little less, and then this happened type of show. But In Search Of was very much and then this happened type show. And yeah, that was a big part of my introduction to these types of creatures and these types of stories. And since I love monsters anyway, honed right in on that and still there. Oh, Stephen Hall remembers the original In Search Of. Ayana was really wanting to get the Reinhardt Overwatch set from Lego. Yeah, that was a good set. Jorge says, but they're all creepy. All these stories are creepy. Yes, they are. And I enjoy creepypasta as well. Those are more fun monster stories to read about. I enjoy those. Dan Does Junk says that one of the reasons he enjoyed the Resistance Fall of Man video games is it played off of the ancient astronaut theory. Yeah. I really enjoy aliens. I really enjoy the ancient astronaut theory. That's an enjoyable thing to do because of how often the design of the gray alien and the design of the ancient astronauts appear in different artwork from different ancient civilizations, sculpted. It can be whatever. It may not be that at all. It's so easy for me to dismiss stuff, but it's fun to believe in it. So it's, I'll go with that aspect of it. One of the shows I remember watching, again, Aliens, it was literally that guy. It was about the Inca, right? And about how they have these stone walls that not only fit together so tightly you can't get like a piece of paper between them, that these stones were cut and made without mortar, and they were just stacked on top of each other. And there's at least one wall where they are a super complicated shape that actually has like a stud and hole in a Lego style, where these stones all fit on top of each other. And there's, it goes on for a while, and they're big. They're not little stones, and so it's this weird, complicated Escher shape with this interlocking pieces. And there's no way people of this could have cut stones like that, and it must have been aliens. And okay, I can agree that maybe there was no way those people at that time could cut those stones to be like that. But I can almost guarantee that people at that time could make a mold and cast concrete, and that probably worked out just fine for making a wall. And I don't see why they couldn't have done that. The Romans did it. Why couldn't these guys? They were, organized. They knew what they were doing. Why didn't they just make it out of concrete? But, for whatever reason, that's the one aspect that show never talked about. I remember just kept looking at it going, yeah, they cast it. It's concrete. American Addict asked if I work a normal job when I'm not making props. Yes and no. I have a day job. Is it normal? Well, I'm a state worker. So, yeah, but no. I'm part of the video unit for the Department of Water Resources, and what I get to do is go and videotape the California aqueduct, dams. I get to, videotape different events and make videos about whatever it is they're doing that they want, right? A lot of these are basically government videos, and with all due respect, they're real snoozers. But it's work, and I'm getting paid. What I'm doing this upcoming week, what I'm doing actually in about 12 hours when I wake up, literally I have to get up, I think 13 hours from now, 14. Myself and my coworker Joe Gillis are going to drive down to Southern California and fly a drone in order to get aerial footage of facilities in order to make, they call it a virtual walkthrough video. What's going to happen is I'll take aerial footage of the existing buildings and then lay in motion track graphics over it to show where new fences need to go in, where fence improvements need to go in, gate improvements, where the new guard checks need to go. And there's an initiative for electric vehicles, so I need to point out on the video where the electric vehicle chargers need to go in. Camera platforms. It's like not exciting at all. It's fun technically to do, and it's exciting to get to go to these. To me, it's exciting to get to go to these infrastructure buildings and get to go in a place that the public can't go. Joe actually got to walk inside of the water pipes that go over the mountains. That it's the end of the aqueduct. So there's an aqueduct throughout all of California, so fresh water can move down the Central Valley, and then they have to pump it up and over the mountains in order to get water down into LA. And every decade or so, they stop the water flow and inspect the pipes. So he got to go in during one of these inspections inside the pipe, which is big enough to drive a truck through, and videotape the proceedings, that sounds really cool to me. There was a point in time when we were shooting a 360 video inside of a dam, so you could have a video for the visitors center, because they used to do tours. I can remember as a kid doing a tour of Hoover Dam. We don't get to do that anymore. But we're shooting this video that was going to be a wraparound kind of theater, so the audience could look at different things. So we had to take a 360 camera that would shoot a full 360 degrees all the way around the camera, while the host walked us through different aspects of the dam. Got to be part of the crew of that, and got to go all the way to the bottom of the dam. And once you get down real low, the walls get so thick, and they're all just poured concrete with no with no real finishing on it. It looked like the Half-Life levels. I can remember playing Half-Life and thinking, why are the maps so huge? Why are the walls so thick? Because they took inspiration from the inside of a dam. That's why. So it was neat. They even had the bottom level that we were allowed on. There was one level below that where anything that leaked, that seepage, because it happens, there's seepage, they're constantly keeping up on things. So it's not like the dam's failing. This is just normal. Like big boats has a bilge and you got to pump the water out. You got a bilge in a dam and you got to pump the water out. There's literally levels in Half-Life where you crawl down, you go down a ladder into a lower level that's, knee high full of water, and there's little things in the water that bite you. And that's 100% what this looked like. And all I can think of is like, I don't want to go get zapped. Nope, not going in there. So that's my day job. I make videos for water stuff, and it's fun. And it's great because there's an office in Fresno that we go to often. So I'm totally going to wear the Fresno Nightcrawlers t-shirt down to the Fresno office. Yeah, Foam Armor is saying, I can't, so how? Oh, okay, I see. I'm behind on stuff here. Foam Armor is saying, with a lot of those shows, they just say, I can't, so how could they? Without thinking that some of these people spent their entire lives honing their craft, learning from their elders, and like mastering it. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that annoys me. Or what's really bad is you get the white man thinking, well, how can this indigenous people do anything that could be as creative as what we're doing? There's no way they figured it out. They were a bunch of, no, that's horrible. And I love the fact that there's plenty of evidence of people throughout time figuring out things, and then we just simply forgot. Oops, forgot. Same thing, Ancient Aliens show. One of the big ones was these pendants they had that looked like an airplane, right? And so it's this gold pendant, basically, literally it was a necklace thing they had, and it was this kind of a flattened 2D, 3D sculpture of 100% looked like an airplane. And how could these people from this long time ago know anything about flight? How could they possibly make something that looks exactly like an airplane? Because it's a flying fish. And guess what? Flying fish aerodynamically look like an airplane. That's why. It's pretty simple, but it wouldn't make good TV, so they ignore that little detail. And the whole flying fish thing, same thing with, there's the, how did, what was it? It was all the names I'm blanking on right now. It's the Con Tiki. It's a balsa wood raft that could show how people from, I think it was South America, could get out to the Polynesian islands. I think was the direction they went. I don't think it was the other way around, because it was a balsa wood raft. They literally cut down balsa trees, which is a very lightweight hardwood tree, made a raft out of it, and then hopped, let it go. Didn't necessarily even have a sail on it to see where they would go. And there are stories of how the ocean would just give them fish. And yeah, that ended up happening. Not only was this raft so low to the water that it was easy to catch fish just by reaching out and grabbing it. And they literally pulled a shark in once to eat doing this, because there's like 4 or 5 Norwegian guys that I think went on this expedition in the 50s. One of them used rations that the U.S. Navy gave them as a test for whatever. So he exclusively ate those, but everyone else would eat what they could catch. And yeah, they hauled a shark up on the boat one day by grabbing its tail and hauling it in. But they quickly found out that early morning, all they had to do was walk out on the deck of the boat, because they were so low, the flying fish would just land on the boat. So you walk out there, here's a fish, here's a fish, here's a fish. I think it has to do with also the progression of the sizes, the shapes of the pyramids, the art that the sculptures that were in South America end up being over in the Polynesian islands as well. And so how did the people do this? And then the same guys years later, like a decade later, did another raft called Ra, where they got a hold, they tried to build one themselves and it failed. Then they got a hold of guys that actually remembered how to make a reed raft correctly, because you had to harvest it at a certain time of the year. So they built this reed raft and were able to go from North Africa, from the Mediterranean Sea, Egypt effectively, and get to South America. And they did that too. And it's like, hey, look, this is totally doable with technology from the time. It takes a little bit, but You have a fairly silent boat that didn't disturb the wildlife. They ended up having, stuff live under the raft, lived under, the reed boat, because it's a floating reef. And so the ocean provided food. And if you wanted fresh water, you just have a basin that catches the rain. And it was, and then it was also easy for them to keep stores well, because they cut a hole in the center of the raft that they're able to put containers into the ocean, keeping their stuff separate from getting wet, of course, but the temperature refrigerated it. So, doable. Would any of the sensationalist sci-fi aliens programs talk about that? Nah, because that's not what they want to do. That's not the story they're trying to tell. Austin Lips is asking where Felicia is today. She just couldn't get in. Couldn't make it today. Felicia's in good health. Felicia's feeling great, but her schedule worked out that while this was the best day for me to do a stream, it was not the best day for her to do a stream. So Felicia and I will be back on the 23rd, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's that. I have to look at the calendar, but it's not the upcoming. It's going to be 3 weeks, 2 weeks. But it's after I'm back from New York. We'll end up doing a stream. And then the very next week, we'll do a stream again for the Halloween stream. Yeah, Dan Does Jump is laughing at the explanation of moving large, heavy objects by using ropes and logs to roll them along the ground when, some areas were completely void of those items at the time. Yeah. Yep. Modern man trying to think, well, this is all they had to work with, so how could they possibly move those huge blocks? How could they possibly move the toa? Well, they had to lay them down and roll them on logs in order to get them there. And then, how could they possibly stand them up? So I do believe there were people specifically. So the toa are the large Easter Island statues, right? The large humanoid statues that have an oversized head. They're kind of like a giant pops, but they have a large oversized head and a little body. And the verbal history is those things walked to their place, and then when they stopped, that's where they stood. And a lot of these things have been there long enough that the ground is probably collected around them and buried them a little more than they originally were. But of course, these statues can't walk there. They're stone, right? So they had to roll them on logs. So there was two different stories here come to mind. There was a guy, I think in Scotland, that was casting large monoliths of concrete and then trying to move them on logs. I can't remember how it was he moved them. But in order to show how do you take this massive monolith and stand it vertical with no technology, without a crane, well, you dig a hole out from underneath it. The guy would start digging a hole out from underneath it. I think he put sand in it so he could get it to its tipping point, but it still has sand under it to support it till it gets to this tipping point. And then he starts adding water to the sand, which releases the density of the sand, and the monolith just stood right up, right into the sand. And then you stop pouring water into it, and there it is. Not only is it upright, but it's supported. That wasn't hard. And other college students and archaeologists ended up taking a Toa replica. Again, I don't think they used a real one. And they tied a series of ropes basically around its head. And then probably some of its lower body. And what they were able to do with it is tilt it back and forth, So it's just tilting back and forth and getting it to twist slightly, so it's literally taking a step, and they were able to walk it by tilting it back and forth as a whole crew and get it to move around. And they walked into place. I don't see why it's the simplest, easiest, and repeatable thing. Why wouldn't that be how it worked? Easter, by the way, I like all this stuff. Sorry, this isn't much of a prop stream. It's more of me regurgitating stuff I've read and watched, but this is stuff I like. Halloween stream. Yes, Felicia and I are going to be dressing up. We're going to be wearing costumes. I'm going to drag out a costume I haven't worn in a while. I mentioned that in the last stream. And I'll give you more hints. Yeah, I was planning on doing Bumble Scorpion, but he's kind of bulky. And so I'm actually going to wear something else. And Felicia is looking at doing a poll on my Discord about what costume she should either make or drag out to wear that may or may not complement the one that I'm planning on wearing, because I told her today when I talked to her. But if you're a member of the Discord, keep an eye out in the poll section. There should be one popping up that Felicia's going to make later today or tomorrow, I hope. And if you're not on my Discord and you want to be, then please check out patreon.com/Odin Makes. And there is multiple levels that you can join on the Patreon. And one of the lowest ones is Discord access. And what that does is it gets you into my private Discord, where you're going to be able to get a hold of me all the time, share pictures of what it is that you're working on, see the pictures of what a bunch of other people are working on. There's a section where, because I got a lot of creator friends that are on my Discord, we get to share promotions of the videos coming out. And every Friday we're still playing video games. And so that's where we post the video games. Anyone who's part of the Discord is welcome to play that video game. We're still playing Among Us right now. We haven't quite gotten away from that, but they keep adding things to it, so it's still fun. We just played this last Friday. I won't be able to play for about 3 weeks because I might be able to play this Friday. I say that, but my current work schedule, I might be on the road Friday. I might make it back Thursday night, and if I do, I'm going to be there. So if you want to be able to play with us, then please go check out Patreon and join. I appreciate the support. And you'll be able to talk to me. You can talk to Felicia, talk to Dan Does Junk, talk to Shop Gremlin. We're all on there. And yeah, it's neat. I love seeing, I get to see the stuff you guys make on Instagram, and I get to see the stuff you guys make on Facebook. But I interact most with Discord. And I really enjoy the community that's there, the friendships that I've got there. And if you want to be part of that, please jump on over and be part of that. Oculus says, Odin, Skeletor. Yeah, no, Skeletor's a great plan. I got the staff, right? Dan Does Junk is pointing out, also finds it fascinating, the Great Sphinx was discovered, keyword being discovered, since it was dug out from the sand, making it much older than anything else in the Giza Plateau. Yes, the Sphinx predates the pyramids of Giza and those, and I believe the Sphinx predates that rise of the Egyptian civilization. And the best part about the Sphinx, aside from Napoleon being an idiot and vandalizing it, if you get up close on the Sphinx, and I believe they've done this with people who know what they're talking about, experts. It has signs of water erosion. So they've taken close-up pictures of the Sphinx and gotten people to go, oh yeah, that's water erosion. Those are caused because of rainfall over a long period of time. But if you ask somebody, hey, is this water erosion on the Sphinx? Everyone says, oh no, that's in a desert. Therefore, it's always been in a desert, and that can't possibly be water erosion. Because I'm sure the Nile is this nice, healthy river that flows through the country there, right? And so that's where they want to set up, because the Nile's there, and that brings life into the valley. Couldn't possibly be that when all this stuff started, there was actually not a desert there, that it was way more lush than it is now. I mean, maybe it was a proto-desert or something, but it wasn't like Arrakis, and which it may not be. I haven't been, so if I'm saying something wrong, I'm really sorry, guys. Why wouldn't they settle, where you had farmland, where you had the ability to, you had the water, you had all this stuff there. And even in America, we were able to turn Oklahoma into a dust bowl. You mean the Egyptians couldn't have turned their farmland into a dust bowl by not doing crop rotation? I mean, we managed to do it just 100 years ago. Why couldn't they have done that? And why would they have set up only in a desert? I'm sure it wasn't when they started, because why would you do that? I mean, you could. Maybe it was the best they had, but why would that be attractive? Foam Armor is excited about getting the hold of staff that he made, and hands down one of the coolest pieces. Thank you. Dan Does Junk says, I just upped my Patreon tier this morning. Oh, thank you, Dan. Speaking of which, thank you very much, Will Connors, and thank you very much, Cheese. These are two other Discord members that I got to meet and talk to at the Creators Con this last weekend in Louisiana. These two guys both upped their memberships to the maximum that I have on there. Each membership tier has something that you know. I try to have something as a thank you, right? You get to participate and you get to whatever. One level is I have a word, but I'm not coming up with you. Or rewards. That's the word I'm looking for. I've got the basic tier that's just, hey, I want to help. Here's a little bit of something, and then you know I'm supposed to post to Patreon, and I haven't recently, and I'm very sorry, but that's. And then I got the $5 tier, and that gets you Discord access. And then I have a $10 tier that gets you Minecraft access, which there's 8 or 10 of us that play Minecraft. And there's only 2 or 3 of us that play really regularly. I think, maybe 4 of us. But I made another tier of I just want to help more. And that's like a $20 a month tier. And at Creators Con, both Cheese and Will Connors upped their Patreon pledge to do that. So, you know, the two of you, thank you. Hopefully, Will, you remember doing, no, I know Will remembers doing this. Hopefully, Cheese, you remember doing this because you were a bit inebriated at the time. Oh yeah, by the way, go hang out with Odin at a con because the after con after party, after party. Yeah, anyway, there was a bunch of us sitting around talking until almost 2 in the morning. The con was over at 11. The after party, the con was over at 8. The after party for the con was over at 11, and we kept hanging out and talking until 2. But anyway, this $20, I want to give a little more. I've actually got 6 people at that tier now. So huge thank you to all you guys. Some like one of them, Will Givner, I think it is, has been there for years, and just thank you guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's still true that the support that I get from Patreon is what pays for this shop space and allows me to do this. That if I didn't have the help from you guys that I've got, I wouldn't be able to do it. It is really that cut and dry. And thank you so very much for continuing to support me, especially over this past year that I haven't put out new videos. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Will, for jumping onto the top tier. Thank you, Cheese, for jumping onto the top tier. In no way am I trying to ask anyone else to do it because it feels weird for me to ask people for money. But I set this thing up. I'm you know, and people have done it, and I just really want to express my gratitude towards those of you who have done it, and thank you. It's really freaking cool. Cheese, inebriated, says Ace. What? So both Ace and Cheese I got to meet before at the previous Creators Con in Oklahoma, you know, that Dust Bowl state, which isn't anymore, but, you know, it was an issue for I say that, maybe it is still a Dust Bowl state, and I'm not really thinking right. Yeah, anyway, it was great getting to hang out with Ace. It was great getting to hang out with Cheese at the Oklahoma Creators Con, the very first one, which was a little over a year ago. And Ace, going to be at Colorado Springs on April 20th. So a little bit closer to you, I think, maybe, I hope, than Louisiana. So I hope that your calendar allows you to come out and hang out with us again, because that'd be really cool. Because it's really... Ace, by the way, for anyone who's watching and isn't aware, he's the one that's done the artwork that's got the Mecha Godzilla and the Odin Makes sticker and the Gundam on the Odin Makes sticker. He's even done a drawing for Bumble Scorpion with a destroyed Odin Makes logo. And he's done the drawings for me and Felicia working on the Proton packs, and did a drawing of us as Muppets. And Ace, I'm so glad that you were able to be inspired to make more drawings. And, you know, when I get myself resituated to be able to make some stickers again, might be fun to make some new ones. But honestly, whatever you're inspired to do, it's really cool. And I would love to hang out with you some, Ace. Thank you. Foam Armor is working on that whole income thing, but here for emotional support, and that helps a lot. Honestly, nobody has to be part of Patreon. The fact that you guys watch the videos that have the adverts and you let the advertisements and let them play. You don't have to let them play all the way through, but that helps too. That is a massive bit of support, and I appreciate those of you who do it. And I'll be honest, I have an ad blocker because I do not have patience for it. So I'm not a good example because I'm not watching them. But, and so at the same time, I'm not going to fault anybody who is using an ad blocker. But for those of you who do let them play, even if you skip them, thank you so much. That's appreciated. Ad Vixen says, Egypt is in Africa and the rain is blessed. Yes, it is. I got a smiley face and a heart from Mariah Woods. Started late. Probably start the whole goodbye things now. I've been able to ramble for 2.5 hours almost. That's more like about 2 hours solid. Got nothing done. I touched the helmet once. I got to show off t-shirts and stuff. I got to talk about doing con stories a little bit. I don't think I've got any major con stories that I'm missing out on. Don't think so. But had a lot of fun. Super excited about getting to go to New York Comic Con. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. Going to be there all 4 days in the Ryobi booth. Ryobi's paying for me to go out there, paying for my hotel room, and will even give me a site fee. They're basically going to cut me a check for going. So it's a lot of expense on their side, and it's really cool that they're having me come out and do this. I take it as a compliment, and I'm excited to get to go out and be part of the booth and get to do stuff. So if you're going to be going to New York Comic Con, please stop by the Ryobi booth and say hi. I'll try and have what few stickers I've got left with me. So I've got something to share. I'm not going to be taking a whole lot of stuff with me because, airplanes, but I'll probably bring a few things. But that's the big thing that I'm looking at. So cons I'm going to be going to, that's not in Sacramento, it's New York, and then Colorado Springs in April. And those are the only two currently that I've got plans for. But definitely thank you all for tuning in and listening to my stories. Thank you all in the future who are watching this as a playback. You guys rock. Much appreciate that. And missing out on anything? I'm getting love from Adaptable Gamers. Thank you, Mariah and Aaron. Ad Vixen says, funny enough, I'm missing the music from my videos. Yeah, I gotcha. I understand that. And they're still planning on buying me a drink at New York Comic Con. That's cool. I know Thursday night, there's the plan for the entire Ryobi team and me to go out to dinner. So that's going to happen Thursday night. But the other nights, no plans. Not yet. Paul Hasty says, pleased to hear you're going to do new videos. The inspiring and educational watching your old videos is the best for Scotland. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, no, want to make more videos. I've got 4 or 5 shot that I can do. I've got 2 projects that are in progress that kind of need to finish in order to have a wrap up for the video. One of them's the giant Emmy project. Came up with an idea, Shop Growing came up with an idea for how to make an improvement for the statue. And I kind of want to have all of that to make that a complete video. And I started working on a prop for my friend Joe Gillis because Joe's going to be putting out some audiobooks and some serialized books here soon. Atomic Joe and the Apocalyptic Wasteland or something like that. So yeah, through Beyond Geek or somewhere you should be able to find those. I don't think he's really promoting it yet, but he wanted to be able to have a particular prop that he wrote about in his story for the cover of his book. So we've been working on that. The project's actually in one of the boxes behind me. Haven't touched it in 2 months, but that's all those are coming up. I still have the video for the Clue pieces that I did last year. Got a video for the Frog Mom backpack, and that's a lot of footage to go through. So I've got stuff I got to work on, and then I still want to make new stuff. I want to make the E5 blaster. I've got a short list of other things that have inspired me that I want to make, and want more videos to come out. But I'll see all you guys again with a new live stream again on the 23rd, which is
I'll look at the clock lights. That's going to tell me a calendar. That's going to be in 2 weeks. And I hope that if you can, you'll be joining me then. And I know that with the adverts, timings are different. But for everyone who has watched, thank you very much. And I will either see you on Discord, see you in New York, or see you right back here for the next live stream. So thank you all for tuning in.